Mr. Golan, thanks for joining me today.
Thank
We are
you.
talking to antiquities collector Oded Golan, who has a new exhibit in Atlanta, discovering the world of Jesus, ancient treasures from the Holy Land. It's at Pullman Yards in Atlanta. Genuine artifacts from Jesus' time. Mr. Golan, give us an overview of this collection. How big is it, and what are some of your favorite items there?
Well, we have brought here to Atlanta items which most of them are from the first century, from the time of Jesus. Few of them are from the time of cradle of Christianity, from the time that the first churches came up. But I would say 90% are from the time of Jesus himself. And they are part of a very large collection, most probably the largest collection in the world of antiquities from the Holy Land. We are showing items that are related, first of all, to Jesus' family, the people who went or walked together with Jesus, and of course, the culture during the time of Christ. And you can learn a lot by walking through such an exhibition, getting a new perspective about life during that time, about how people thought, and many elements that everyone just heard about them. You may look at them in a little bit different way after you are watching this exhibition. Now, it's not just an archaeological exhibition. We have some immersive films. We have digital reconstructions. We have some other elements which make the whole experience much, much bigger and stronger than going to an exhibition. So I would call it a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, especially because the items are not in the United States. The items are coming from Israel for a short period of time. They will travel in the United States for this during this year, and they will stay for 2 or 3 months at each place where they are going.
The one that I think people will know about is the James Ossuary, which is attributed to Jesus' brother. And there's another one called the Zacharias Ossuary as well, which I'm less familiar with. Tell us about the James Ossuary. That one, of course, has received worldwide attention, has critics as well. What is the James Ossuary?
The James Ossuary is one of the ossuaries in my collection. I have about 35 or 40 ossuaries of that period of time. And I bought it when I was a student of engineering in Israel. And I didn't recognize its importance at all. So I took it home. I lived at that time with my parents, and it was there for almost 20 years until it was deciphered by a scholar that read that the full inscription in Aramaic, which it say this is the ossuary of Yaakov, James, the son of Joseph, the brother of Jesus. And he did later on a statistic research to find out what is the chance that this combination of names may belong to the James, brother of Jesus of Nazareth, a very important person in Christianity. In Spanish, his name is Diego, San Diego. You know, there are several cathedrals, San James cathedrals around the world after his name. And he found that we can almost say by certainty that it belonged to this James. The combination of names and the fact that ossuaries were in use only during 80 years in the whole history bring us that there were not more than 1.6 people, you know, this is statistics, not more than 1.6 people with this combination of name during the time that ossuaries were in use. And what is not less important is the mentioning of a brother, because almost all ossuaries are mentioning only the name of a person and his father. And by mentioning the name of a brother, it means that the brother played an important role in the community. If you put it into account, all these elements together, it's almost sure that this ossuary belonged to James, the brother of Jesus, who headed, by the way, the Christian community after the crucifixion of Christ, of Jesus.
And this would have held his bones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we did several chemical tests to the ossuary, and especially to the inscription itself, which is the more important element in the ossuary, especially during recent years. And we proved that the whole inscription is authentic. It was engraved several thousand years ago. So if you put all those elements together, we are really facing one of the most important items ever found, not only in Israel, I think in history.
So you have scholars who are on your side, some scholars who are critics of the ossuary and who doubt its authenticity. You would say it's authentic.
Yeah, at the beginning, when it was first published, and the Israeli government wanted to confiscate the ossuary, they claimed that some part of the inscription is a forgery. So we had, and some scholars that have not even seen it by their own eyes, they followed the claim of the Israeli Antiquity Authority. So we had to run through this very special test and chemical and microscopic test to prove that the whole inscription is authentic. And I think that the most scholars in the field, especially those that specialize in the period, they actually now they relied that they claimed that this ossuary belonged to James, brother of Jesus. And we have also in this exhibition, it's followed by a small advisory board by Professor James Tabor from the University of Charlotte, and also from the University of Jerusalem. And they also tested it, and I think now there is no question about the authenticity of it.
Tell us briefly about the Zacharias ossuary.
The Zachariah ossuary is a unique ossuary. It's a very interesting ossuary because, first of all, it has the name Zachariah, Zacharias, Zachariah. Then you see the two columns that stood in front of the Temple of Jerusalem. And on the side of it, there is a symbol hovering inside a structure, and it symbolizes the wing of God. And if you take all these elements together and other elements around the ossuary, we are talking about an ossuary of a priest with the name Zachariah that got protection of God. And there is only one person that fits, this combination of elements, and this is Zachariah, the father of John the Baptist. And according to the New Testament, Zachariah had no children, and Gabriel appeared in front of him and predicted that he will have a child, and this child will be called John, and John will proclaim the arrival of the Messiah. And it's almost for sure that this ossuary belonged and contained the bones of Zachariah, the father of John the Baptist. So this is definitely one of the two most important items. There are several other very interesting items in the exhibition. For example, the earliest description images of the nativity story from a church from the 3rd century AD. And another item came from another church from the 4th century AD, in which you can see the earliest Holy Sepulchre church in Jerusalem. This is the place where the body of Jesus left in the cave and he was resurrected. And you can see how it was originally built in Jerusalem in the 4th century. We have some nails, crucifixion nails, and many other elements, a manger from the area of Bethlehem that also remind us the story of the nativity that Jesus, as a baby, was put into the manger in Bethlehem. And on top of it, many other elements that just teach you about how people lived along the shores of the Sea of Galilee. The 12 apostles who were fishermen, so we have tools of fishermen from the Sea of Galilee. and some other elements from other parts of his life and miracles that he did, which are not directly connected with the stories, but they give you the idea how the pieces looked like during that time.
It's my understanding you have more than 300 genuine artifacts from the time of Jesus in this exhibit. Well, hey, Mr. Golan, what role do you believe these artifacts, these biblical artifacts, play in connecting modern people to the biblical era?
Well, I think it connects you to the stories, to the history, to the faith, and it doesn't matter what age you are. And many people, you know, they know some of the stories almost by heart. They heard about it. So when you're coming to such an exhibition, of course, you have a lot of excitement, and it has an impact. You know, Jesus himself, he was a Jewish person. He was born as a Jewish. He lived as a person, as a Jewish. He taught in synagogues as a rabbi in synagogues, and he was crucified as a Jewish person. So you learn a lot of cultural and traditional and religious elements that were among his community that you don't study them when you know you're going to the church. So that's really interesting to look at it from many different angles, many different perspectives that teach you about the stories. And putting it together, you know, with the films and the reconstructions, I see people are really excited when they are going out of the exhibition. They love it, and they really tell us that they studied a lot and they loved it, and I'm happy to see it.
I'm curious. Have you had people tell you that that this exhibition built their faith, encouraged them in their faith?
I don't think it changed faith of anyone. I don't think so. If you're a believer, you're a believer. If you don't, you don't. But it changed sometimes the way, how do you look at the history? I gave the example of the Holy Grail. You know, it was made of stone during the time of Jesus, and not by gold or diamonds as Indiana Jones looked for it, you know, later on. So you know, when you look at it and you understand that this type of cup was used during the Easter, a Passover, during the Judaism time in Jerusalem, you understand better the story of Jesus claiming, "This is my blood." Of course, the famous statement of Jesus when he holds the cup is in hand and in his hand. It's not a question of age, and it's not a question of faith. It will not change your faith. If you're a strong believer, you will remain a strong believer. You don't believe, you find an excuse why not to believe now. You know, that's not the point here.
I have one more question before I let you go. It's my understanding that you yourself are Jewish. How did you develop an interest in collecting items around the time of Christ?
It's interesting because I didn't. You know, I have a huge collection of more than 5,000 items from biblical time from Israel. And when I decided to run this exhibition or to show these items in the exhibition, I had to look what items do I have from that period, and I found that I have about 600 items of that period of time. So I took the more important 300 and something items and brought them here with the license of the Israeli Antiquity Authority, and we show it to the people here in Atlanta. So I was not specialized actually originally in this period of time, just because the number was so big. And of course, I was very lucky because I got some very important pieces that other people did not recognize their importance. Maybe if they did, I couldn't get them. And you know, you have to understand something in archaeology and history to collect archaeology. If you're collecting just art or some other things, you don't need to be such a knowledgeable person. But since I'm collecting so many years, I was really lucky to have the opportunity. And of course, I had the right contacts with the people the dealers and the traders that brought them into the market.
What are plans for this exhibit beyond Atlanta?
I hope to go to few other, the exhibition will go to few other places in United States, and maybe also later on to other countries, because I got some interest from several other countries to present it. Most probably we shall be in Texas, we shall be in California, and some other states. It will be of interest for everyone. I don't see any specific state that will be more interested in it than other.
Mr. Golan, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me.